Welcome back with another episode of Connecting with Creatives. Today is special as I was talking to my guest that I'll announce that it's like one in a lifetime, or one in a generation type of talents that, you have. And it could be sports, it could be business, it could be you name it. But my next guest, Mr. Landon Cooper, man, is amazing and has done amazing things. And I just want to shed some light on him and how he's gotten to this point and what are some actionable steps that people are coming behind him are trying to do. So Landon, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jay. I appreciate that. That's a super kind intro. Just great to be here.
Absolutely. So we're going to start from the beginning. How was early childhood like for you?
It was interesting. So I came from a military family where I had to move a lot. Basically, I was born in Florida, and then I moved up and down the East Coast from like the entirety of my childhood. Eventually, I got more permanent residence in Virginia. So that's been the place that I would probably consider my hometown. Yeah, I've been creative kind of my entire life. Drawing was basically that thing. I was just drawing any chance I could get.
Yeah. So you knew early on that, you were in love with drawing, and was it specific things that your parents did to enhance your skills, or did they just let you draw?
A little bit of both. I don't think that they were trying to like directively do anything to push my skills, but they were supportive in it. They would, buy me a Wacom tablet or get me, Prisma colored pencils, which were very expensive and, things like that. I was never told you need to go do this other thing, which was just amazing. And I'm very grateful for that.
Now being a military kid, I'm assuming you guys moved a lot, right? So how were you able to socialize and then kind of do some of the things that you loved, right? And did you play sports too as well?
Yeah, I've been an athlete my entire life. I grew up doing a little bit of soccer and then went into baseball. And baseball was the thing where at that time I lived in Rhode Island. It was a small community in a small state, and a lot of people knew each other. So there was that local element. And honestly, I found a lot of people, a lot of other kids in school who were also into the drawing thing and creative. And I did a lot of after school programs. So if I wasn't doing sports, I was doing after school programs. I was drawing with my friends and we were just cutting up. And it was a great place to kind of come up at that time. So I really loved my time in Rhode Island.
Nice. So were you competing for, do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have one sibling.
Okay. Now, how was that like? What did your parents do a good job of kind of showing you guys each attention and encouraging certain things like after school, art, sports, things of that nature?
I think so. I think, it's interesting when you grow up kind of in a military type family because other military like people kind of stick together in community. So there'd be moments where if you live in military housing like I did, you would know all other military kids, and it could be from different branches. I had friends with parents in the Coast Guard or the Army and so on. But with my sister, she actually would play violin. So it was just kind of like they let us chart our own course, and there was never don't do this, do that. It was healthy. It wasn't anything bad, So we just, I think, naturally gravitated towards being creative, and then we were just supported in that from that moment on.
That's awesome. I wish I had your skill set. I can draw stick figures. That's the only thing that I could. But my brother, my brother was the artist. So Landon, how did you know that you had a gift? Like, what was a clear sign? Like, okay, Landon should probably go this direction. And then at that certain point, did your parents kind of guide you towards certain art classes or anything of that nature?
Yeah, so there's an interesting part to this story. So as I mentioned, I grew up in a military family, but there was actually a point where I'm also a child of divorce. So there was kind of a transition into having a stepfather like role model kind of step into the mix here. And that person's been very important to me as well in my journey and kind of empowering me creatively. So I think around the time it was probably high school where I had gotten into kind of this online community on YouTube. I started creating content content. Nothing too great. I would just do kind of like speed art videos in Photoshop, and I would make kind of like phones and interfaces and things like that. And it wasn't till that where I was like, there's something happening here. Maybe I should see if I could do that at the college level. And no one in my family had gone to a 4-year university, so it was new for us as a whole. And I just looked at local Virginia colleges and I was like, is this graphic design thing like a tangible career path? And from that point, the minute that I saw it was, I never once looked at myself and said I couldn't. So I went for it from that point on. Yeah.
So as you discovered that it's a real thing, it's a real job, it's a real industry, what are some of the courses in college and hard skills that you had to learn?
So my degree formally is in graphic design. So a lot of print-based, brand-based type of work in my program. But I had a great group of professors. I studied at Longwood University here in Farmville, Virginia, and it was a small emerging program. And I had gotten into a course that was called Design Lab, and you had to apply to it. And it was actually a pro bono design agency. So we got to work with real clients. We did just free work, and it was probably some of the most practical experience that I got. So during that time, I think I got a lot of good experience where I was able to just really put what I was learning in the classroom into practice well before I even got out into the industry itself. And I think the biggest thing, to answer your question about like learnings, was foundations. I can't riff on that enough. I learned really, really good foundations of design as a whole, and that's been able to kind of trickle down into what I do to this day.
Okay, so this is a 2-part question. What are some of the technical tools that you use? And also, to piggyback on your experiences, would you say that having that tangible real world experiences kind of catapulted you in front of your peers, right? That are maybe at a different university, that didn't get that experience? Would you say that like made you ready for the real world?
Let's see. So, I mean, with the first part, when you say tangible tools, do you mean what I currently use today to like do my job, or? Yeah. So, I mean, today I'm doing, oh my gosh, they're rapidly changing, as you know. So there's a million different things. I like to just use whatever I can that can help me create what the vision is in my head. So a few years ago, I got into 3D. So I have a separate computer that I built that I use for that and kind of work and maintain the standard MacBook Pro as well, just for a lot of flat design. I'm obviously in digital and kind of product now. So there's a lot of tools I'll use and programs that are dedicated to that for like prototyping and things like that. Yeah. So basically, whatever the hot industry tools are, you kind of have to stay in step with that as it changes. So I try to be very diverse. In terms of my experience, to answer your second question about like that real world experience and kind of getting ahead, I don't want to go as far as saying that it got me ahead of people because I did it, because I'm a firm believer that it's all about how you choose to value your experience you're in. So whether I did it or not, I'm going to get out of the experience what I hope would I like actually, let me rephrase that, where I put my energy. If I really want to get the most out of it, then I will. It was definitely an extended experience, and you had to apply to get into this particular class. So, it showed in the classroom that if you weren't, taking a liking to design, if you weren't taking that interest, if you didn't want to go that extra mile, then that probably wasn't the class for you. But 9 times out of 10, most of the individuals who were in that class did take it very seriously, and it went to show. And we eventually, we had a design show in a gallery kind of at one point in the year, and it was a real special moment. So I will say that it has been beneficial and helpful to my career, but putting me ahead of others, I wouldn't go as far as that. Yeah.
Okay. On your journey at this point, do you have a mentor that you could reach out to? Do you have several mentors? How do you continue to grow professionally with mentorship?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mentorship was a tough thing at the beginning of my career, because when I moved back to Virginia Beach, I didn't have really a wide net of people I knew who did design. So at that point, I got involved in organizations and stuff. And over time, I was able to grow and meet more people, and it's been tremendously helpful. But Oh my gosh, I attribute a lot to mentors and my general network that I have because they've just been amazing. And more tangibly, I've got people who I consider, good and close friends who also do what I do. And I could easily consider them mentors. I got a friend, Josh, got a friend, Matt. These guys who I used to work with in the past, and they're phenomenal, and they've got years of experience beyond me. And it's just great to even, have those people near you, because I learned what it was like when you didn't. And when you finally do have those people who are, not only giving you their friendship, but also giving you they're allowing you to peep game, and they're letting you see, how the industry is and how to learn and how to try things and what they've gone through. And it's been amazing. So yeah, I definitely have a good grouping of mentors kind of in vicinity.
I think that's the cheat code, Landon. That's the cheat code of, is having a network of mentors of, people in the same industry. So I don't want to keep you too long, but I do have a question, not a question, but rather let's give you your flowers, right? And, I really don't want to touch specifically about the things you've done in the past. But if you guys are listening on Apple, Spotify, or watching on YouTube, look this guy up, and then you guys will see the caliber of art that he displays, and from his portfolio, from the stuff that he's accomplished. And it's like I said before we started recording, I was just like, wow, I'm fairly new to the industry, but I can, when you see talent, right? So I just wanted to give you your flowers now while you can receive them. And just let the audience know, and let me know, what is your biggest motivation to keep on going, to keep on giving excellence?
Wow, that's a great question. First off, thank you. I'm just honestly a dude just trying to fight the good fight and just try to enjoy the work that I'm doing. I'm no better than the next person. I'm just trying to create from a genuine spot and see myself grow every day. But on that point, what encourages me and motivates me to be my best level of self, to be completely honest, I think it's my upbringing and my background. I don't come from any level of means. I don't come from people who have been highly educated before me academically. I don't come from any level of that type of stuff. And there have been definite life struggles and family hardships. And I think that is a motivator. Is I am blessed enough to have something that I'm good at and I have the opportunity to be great at and that I enjoy. While I have this short moment here on earth to really do that, I want to give it the best of my ability. And I really want to see what it can do and how it can provide for not only me, but a future family and people around me. And through that process, lead and set an example for other people and showing them that you can do that too. It's not unreachable.
Is there anything that you're shooting for, right? Is there a goal in your mind to say, hey, once I accomplish this milestone, then I will feel full?
Not really, because I think I've learned that anytime I reach a goal, another one comes up. So I don't think there's ever a level of just feeling full. And I think a lot of creatives can probably agree with that, is that you make a great project, then you look at it, a year or two later and you're like, I could do better. So not exactly a goal. I think a future goal for me is just to get to a moment where I can be in leadership. I think I'd just like to pay it forward and sometimes maybe be the manager that you never had, or even take the good things that you did get and share that and pay it forward with other people, essentially to leave the industry in a better spot than you found it. So, yeah.
So once you reach that milestone, because you will be in a leadership role soon, just given, your skill set and your experience.
Now, I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah. So how are you going to, what is in your mindset? What do you look for in portfolios, resumes, for someone to come on your team? If you were in leadership right now, what would you look for?
Well, obviously it goes without saying, the work has to be there, the quality first and foremost. And it depends on whatever the role is, whether it's storytelling focused, art direction focused, product, whatever it is, what problems you're solving, that's pretty much paramount across the board. But aside from that, I think one thing that I look for, or would look for, is authenticity and just being real and being who you are. I think that that's important because good work is all over the world. world. It's not out of reach. A lot of people can do it, but I think it's actually the individual and who they are that separates them and makes them different. Are you good to work with? Are you someone enjoyable to work with? Can you be, dependable? Do you bring a certain level of encouragement and motivation to the team that is unique and different and that energizes the people around you? I think that those are the types of things that I look for. And also just appetite for growth. I don't believe in just kind of sitting stationary. I think whatever that next level is, go for it. Like, why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, before I let you go, is there anything that you're or any projects that you're collaborating on, like on a personal level, that you wanted to highlight that we can look for in the future? And the second question is, how are you giving back? Is there something that people that are coming up after you in the space, they can like reach out to you, or a community that you're involved with?
Yeah. So it's funny. I used to do a lot of different side projects. And since I've kind of admittedly just been a little bit siloed, just working on the craft again, I have moments where I kind of just retreat for a moment and just kind of focus on some of the details of my work. So I'd say a big current thing I've been doing has been 3D and the digital art side of that. And it's something that I've always just been able to tangibly bring into design in some way or another. It's kind of multifaceted. So my portfolio is a good place to check for that. I'm always kind of updating and adding different things that I'm just experimenting with and exploring. And the last bit of your question about like, is there anything I'm leaving behind or anything like that? Not currently, but there is definitely, I have an appetite for a future project. And I've really been thinking lately about just my purpose, and not just about just being a good designer, working a good job. I think it's also about like, how can I contribute to the industry and help people around me? And I think that sometimes in pain is where you find purpose, or struggle. And I think taking back from some of my career moments that have been a little bit tough or a little bit hard, and I've had to really push to grow through, I want to somehow create some sort of project, platform, or initiative that can help cultivate community for other people and help pay it forward. I want to be that friend, giving those insights and giving those things that I had to very desperately search for. So when I mentioned mentors earlier, I'd like to just offer that up and take the things that I've learned and share it with other people.
And to bring us to a close, Landon, if you had to use one word to describe your mindset, what would it be?
I'd say resilient. That's my mindset. There's a lot of ups and downs, not even just in the creative industry, but just life in general. So I try to be resilient. I could get knocked down a million times, but I always try to get up at the end of the day. I don't like to just back into a corner. So no matter the fight, no matter the difficulty, I try to just always push on. You'll see that working with me, or seeing my work, or just hearing a little bit about my journey thus far. So yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Landon, for coming on the show. This is episode number 4. Oh man, not by far, because my first 3 episodes were amazing. But as you know, I'm progressing through, this podcast. It's just, I'm growing too, right? Connecting with creatives was designed to literally do this and shed light on the creative industry. Again, thank you, Landon, for coming on. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment below, and reach out to Landon. He's open. He opened the doors to me.
Yes, of course.
Peace.